Hi guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have some messages for you today and an oracle reading at the end. And we're just going to get started. I wasn't here yesterday, so I'm going to get into some of the energies from yesterday as well. That was August 9th, and today's August 10th, coming out of Lionsgate on 8/8, which has been coming up a lot. The night of August 8th, I ended up watching this movie called Take the 10, which was very aggressive. It's not like a movie I would normally enjoy watching, and I actually didn't finish it because it was just too aggressive for me. But there was a message there for sure. And by the way, Take the 10, 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. It's like saying take the high road. And in this movie, it was kind of making light of so much tragedy going on, like these two young guys who end up getting sucked into a situation against their will to be, well, one of them part of a drive-by shooting. What was interesting about it was I saw this drive-by shooting on the movie, and then yesterday I went to the beach with my sister, and I never listened to the news or the radio, and I was listening to the radio just for a short time because I was guided to a number yesterday morning, 1050, if that syncs with anyone, but I got it twice yesterday. So I was listening to the radio station 1050, or looking for it, and there's really no clear 1050 radio station in my area. But the point was, when I ended up listening to the news, I'd watched a drive-by shooting last night, and then now there's a drive-by shooting being reported. I'd reported 2 men in blue in part of my Divine Masculine read, and there were 2 police officers killed. So you are going to become aware of manifesting your thoughts and your awareness very quickly. So it's very interesting to see that kind of thing. Let's see. So yesterday was August 9th. It was the 9 of the Hermit, or selflessness, compassion, and universal service. And the day added up yesterday to 28, which I always call the twin flames. It is the 2 of Wands, and in the Syrian deck it's literally 2 flames. So you had the 2 of Wands and the Hermit energy, which is about really going within and choosing a path, figuring out what you want in your life. But it is the Hermit energy, so it can be very isolating, but it can also be very just, a rest day. Obviously I went down the shore, so it was very relaxing for me. And I am Virgo, so it does relate directly to my energy. So, the 28 is a 1, by the way. It is the ultimately the energy of the Divine Masculine, that focus, that drive, that focus on self. Not being distracted in your periphery, like the racehorse that has the blinders on. That's that pure Divine Masculine energy. And that's interesting because my sister's destiny number is 1, so, and I don't see my sister all the time because she's about 45 minutes away from me. So it was a beautiful day down the shore, by the way. The sun was just gorgeous. I don't know how much you guys look at the sun anymore, but it's completely different than it used to be. There's so much color and rainbows in the sun. When you take pictures every day, it changes all the time. So if you haven't taken a look, you might want to do that. It's really beautiful. And just the birds. So we'll get into the day and what happened, but the energy that came up yesterday was very swordy, actually. In the read that I did yesterday morning, there were 4 swords, 2 cups, a pentacle, and the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Cups came up, and double 6s. And 6 is love, yes, but it's love, family, community, and it's all about daily duties. The 6th house is all about daily duties. So what if of that nature came up for you yesterday? And it could be the number 66 as well. And the number 15 came up, which is the devil energy, the card of the devil. So it's about bringing up your codependencies. And don't forget that all codependencies are really an addiction to pain. All of them. So when 15 comes up, it's just focusing in on what pain are you releasing today. So in my coding, by the way, the major arcana yesterday were the Chariot, Lovers, and the Sun and the Moon. So it was really beautiful energy. And the Lovers doesn't have to be about your sexual relationship. It's about attraction, right? So people that you really gel with, and of course going to the beach for the day is that really beautiful energy. I mean, you really see the beauty in everything, the breeze at the ocean and the sun and the birds and the people and the children playing and just everyone having a nice time. You know, the breeze when you finally get out of the sun. It's about seeing the beauty in everything. And sometimes, and this will come up again in my downloads, that it's important to take a drive to get out of your head. So that was one of the messages, but that will come up again. I was getting karmic completion. And this is more geared toward the divine feminine, and I'll tell you when I was getting the divine masculine. But again, the number 1050 was coming up, and one of my twin flame friends had just said 1050 to me the night prior, and then corrected herself because it was a plate that she was seeing with my name on it. But I was resonating with the 1050 more than the number that she saw with my name on the plate. So it was interesting then. It came up in my code yesterday morning, and it was very significant. So my codes yesterday morning were just really about your thoughts and eclipsing those negative thoughts. Find things that help you do that when you aren't able to, like taking a drive. And that it was really saying that the divine feminines who've been on their path a long time are just done with their karma. So yeah. And also bringing up when you need distraction, listen to music, listen to the radio. It's like a department of consciousness. It keeps you present. You know, that's why it's so nice. I remember driving home from work all the time, you know, when you're in traffic and it takes a long time to get home from work. I never really minded that because that was quiet time for me. You know, I can listen to music. There's no kids that want something from you, and you're not at work where somebody wants something from you. It was just that quiet time. You could just listen to music. So it was bringing up that as a really good tool to get you out of your head, because you know that when you go into automatic pilot when you're driving, it's, you know, it's a form of meditation. So we're bringing that up as a tool to use. So the Wheel of Fortune, Fortune 500 came up, the number 50, the number 10, and the number 5 also. So it's change, the Wheel of Fortune, about finances, and also good at ellipse. So it's about avoiding negative thoughts, though. Not avoiding what you should be dealing with, your wounds, but how to avoid negative thoughts, how to distract yourself. You know, as soon as they start coming in, don't let them sit. You know, get your thoughts in a new direction, whether it's using music or getting out, driving, or whatever it is, distract yourself. Yeah, I was also getting sports stations. So those of you who love sports, you know, that's a good distraction as well. And country music was coming up too. I was getting specifically, I don't know what this relates to. Could even relate to my son, but Williamsport has a college, Lycoming College, that has a ESPN. It's an ESPN affiliate radio station that's 1050 that may be significant for someone. So again, the wheel and the chariot, so driving, steering, doing something, moving, guiding yourself in another direction, okay, is very good at blocking negative thoughts. So the number 310 came up as well. The divine masculine energy was coming up as being exposed. But in their King of Swords energy, exposed and feeling apart from the crowd and alone. But I was getting specifically upper back, shoulder, and head pain. And then and left arm, and someone's icing. Okay, so literally for the Divine Masculine, I was getting that they're feeling alone apart from the crowd. Not that they want to be with the crowd, but just kind of feeling alone. I was getting upper back, shoulder, and head pain, and maybe left arm and icing something on their body. I was getting Leo energy, or an Amish type woman, or just a very simple person who just likes a very simple life. Kind of tending to the beast, or is actually went to write beast and the breast came up again in front of others. So like, or maybe even a country woman. So where country came up, it came up again, country woman. So, and exposing your inner beast to the world. Okay? So the Queen of Pentacles, that energy of a grounded feminine, I was getting is pointing fingers northeast to someone whose wings are up and feeling defensive. And it just makes me think of yesterday. When I was on the boardwalk yesterday, I had gotten some ice cream, and one of the seagulls, like, just really aggressively just jammed his wing right into the top of my ice cream just before I was about to bite into it. So of course I had to go back and get another one, but just so you know, that energy was there. All right, there's some very aggressive bird energy dipping into my ice cream. I guess maybe the Divine Masculine doesn't want me eating ice cream. So there may be, you know, a Divine Masculine who's feeling defensive. So their wings are up, they're kind of ready to defend. I was getting Sphinx, specifically Sphinx energy, pointing Excalibur, or the truth to be exposed, but using a book, like opening a book to defend themselves instead of being open, an open book, kind of pointing to another book, like how other people have defined them, as opposed to who they really are. But also coming up as judge and jury. So the energy of the Divine Feminine could come up as being judge and jury, the Divine Feminine presiding as judge and jury over their own pain even. So remember to be kind to yourself as well, not just to others. But loving the over-emotional self and offering a new life as your abundance in the Empress energy, presiding over any back pain that may come up, betrayal, wounds, just ending pain for good. And I was getting, for the Divine Feminine, straight down the middle of the back. Okay, so pain might be coming up straight down the spine and the back, but also in the front I was getting the right groin to up diagonally up to the left shoulder. That this is like a line of pain for the Divine Feminine right now. As the Divine Feminine does stand in their truth, allowing others to fall away as needed in order to end the pain cycles. For the Divine Feminine, getting, yeah, just really ending pain. Was it 3 yesterday? Yeah, there was 3, I literally had 3 Ten of Swords all next to each other yesterday as underlying energy. So it was really the Divine Feminine putting the pain in the past, which is amazing. So obviously it's not all the Divine Feminines, but the ones who know who they are, who have been on the cycle for a long time. I'm getting to really pay attention to the red flags as the card, but I was really getting pay attention to soreness, like specific, you know, specific points that you're not addressing, that sore spot within you, and also your synchronicities guiding you to those sore spots. Then I got Jar of Hearts, and I got Jar of Hearts, and feeling like someone was trying to, I'm not thinking of the Divine Masculine, but thinking that someone's been trying to play you for the Divine Feminine, but now seeing it for what it is. I was blind, but now I see. So then energy of a man with 2 women back to back comes up. But the 2 women are coming up as really the same person with two different shoes. So it's like the Divine Feminine walking from this timeline into this timeline. So instead of the Divine Masculine being a third-party situation, it's literally Divine Masculine coming together with the Divine Feminine as she's changing timelines. So that was really cool to see that. And also accentuating spiritual career. And then and that was at 9:02 yesterday morning, come sail away with me. Now dropping the facade, the daily duties, connecting with the lover, and asking them to come sail and express under the open sky. Recently, I'm getting for the Divine Masculine, the Knight of Cups energy, finding satisfaction alone, which is great because that's part of the process, right? So, what I was getting for the Divine Masculine, although they're finding satisfaction alone, there's some kind of older Empress energy around the Divine Masculine, not the Divine Feminine, that stabs him in the back. Whereas, it's like the Divine Masculine was making a joke. So there's this person stabbing him in the back, whereas, and they're comparing, the Divine Feminine places it carefully in the front. So it's like, until they bleed out. So being very dramatic about it, but in a funny way. It was pretty funny. So defending, or defensing. There's a defensive Leo around, pretending to be something that they're not. And this is around the Divine Masculine. And I've been getting Leo a lot, which would make sense. It comes out right now since we're in Leo. Emotional tidal waves coming in for lover. So this was specific to the Divine Masculine, or their karmic situation, or this Leo. This emotional tidal wave had to do with them. The foundation of what's going on has to do with the Divine Masculine right now feeling numb to pain because they've been going through so much of the suffering cycles. Driving to work out details of release, so maybe they're driving to use that as an escape. To change their thought patterns, but kind of floating along, not noticing their synchronicities because there's so much still in their head, connecting to their pain. But there's a switch of timelines here. So again, this was the second time the switch of timelines comes up. Centrally, I was getting kids or twins, so it depends on your situation, are opening their hearts and to winning the game, like learning that it's a game, speaking of their sore spots and news, and maybe seeing news, and maybe things they're seeing on in the media are bringing up some of their own sore spots, and them now wanting to bring it out until they open to someone. So kids and twins. So twins, children, siblings who are all in separation, they're getting their wish. Okay, so now, whereas it's interesting, the day before I got the King of Swords with their head cut off, now getting the Queen of Swords with their head cut off, not wanting to talk about anything more with men yesterday. So it's like just wanting to deal with women, not with men. Like the Divine Feminine doesn't want her face to be seen. And this was the energy yesterday. It was coming up like the Divine Feminine not wanting to, they're getting into thoughts of visualizing their Divine Masculine with other people, even at work. Some jealousy issues might come up for Divine Feminines around this time, especially since we're in Leo, about the Divine Masculine giving attention to other females, even if it is a work situation, but just because the Divine Feminine's been so disconnected from them, not allowed to even be a part of their life, it brings up these jealousy issues of them spending time with any other females. So the divine feminines are starting to make bold moves, okay? Getting out more. Some may be feeling defenseless, but others are feeling no need to defend themselves. And this is the change in timelines for those who are still in that defenseless mode, feeling defenseless. It's when you switch to not needing to defend yourself that you've changed that timeline, dumping all emotions of depression, changing it to abundance of family in the aftermath of the separation of the lovers or the twin flames. Then I was getting this Queen of Cups comes up as comforting and kind, with dreams of Cupid playing matchmaker. So on the divine masculine side, there's an Empress and this the Queen of Cups. It's like Cupid is talking to the other women in the divine masculine's life while he's focused on his dreams. It's becoming very obvious that they're at cross purposes. So maybe the karmics actually see a dream they never thought that they could have in their life, that they're not now seeing for themselves, but it won't work in the dynamic they're in with the masculine, the divine masculine. So it's kind of like waking up the karmic to what she wants for herself. But there's also an Empress. There's a Queen of Cups and an Empress energy coming up here. So kind of offering to the karmics a new life. And it could even be with the devil, so with more of their own codependencies, but it's still part of their contract or their karma. Or there's some kind of payoff that starts a fight to the death. So it could be some kind of dissolution of a business or a marriage. Somebody's kicked out. And I was seeing yesterday too, the kids finally seeing the harsh truth of their reality between their parents. But then dolphins and peace were coming up. So again, that's that beach energy of people getting away on vacation. But playing with the devil energy. It could just be a Capricorn as well. And truth at work. So kind of like working with the energies to figure out what's good for you. So the truth at work. So whereas you do a lot of truth work about your home and inner world, also focusing on truth at work with the people you work with your twin, and also with your childhood. I was getting the card Safe to Love, Flirt, Unrequited Love, and then heart-to-heart conversations. So it's really about coming out of your shell and being real with others, recognizing unrequited love, if you're in an unrequited love situation that you should not be in, and having heart-to-heart conversations about that. So it doesn't mean you don't love or care about someone, but you may not be in love with someone anymore. It might be a business situation where you're not resonating with each other anymore. Doesn't mean you don't care about the other person. So the divine feminine is now the lover. She's becoming the lover of everyone, right? Opening the heart to friends, about balancing insecurities. A very emotional moon leads the way to patience, getting more attention from your guides, if you're feeling like you've been detached from your guides recently. Also going to be getting more attention from a Sagittarius energy. Or maybe just researching or learning more about spiritual things, or about more different cultures around the world, even religions, different kinds of spiritualities. Kind of stepping into a time warp though. And I was definitely getting the dance, the time warp. Let's do the time warp. Let's do the time warp again. And it was, I can't remember the words exactly. Is it a step to the left first, a step to the left, and then a jump to the right? And then pulling your, wait, I don't know, it's like swinging your hips around and then pulling them in tight. But there was something about the dance that was important for people to know. So look up the time warp from Rocky Horror and look at the dance, because there's something significant in the message about the time warp. But stepping into time warp, and you might want to watch Rocky Horror Picture Show now too, because you're going to see it in a whole new light. Spirit's connecting with me. Clear blocks of exposure to karmics, not in their power, and needing to meditate about overindulgences and antisocial behavior, or just not expressing their feelings. And sorry, I'm having trouble expressing my words, period, today. Karmic completion was coming up. Justice and romance, and literally a wishbone was coming up, you know, ready to make your wish. Ready to serve. Or ready and served. This wishbone on a platter, maybe. A wishbone served on a silver platter. And violins and mistletoe. Oh, I just saw it in a different way. Mistletoe can be like you missed left toe. And I just said the other day that I'd felt a pain in my left big toe. So I don't know if that means anything, but let me know if it does. Violins and mistletoe. Twisting pillars of support. Roses and a boat. And blueberries. So all of these things were energies that were coming up yesterday. About romance and getting your wish. And again, the twisted pillars of support was coming up as, you know, remember when things twist together, they become stronger, the rope becomes stronger, and it becomes bonded over time. Okay, so when you go through the difficult parts, it twists you together and drains, you know, when you squeeze things like that, it drains all the emotions out, and you become bonded and stronger. So that was a very good reference. New life exposed without marriage for karmics and kids. Seeing the romancing the stone, and maybe getting in romancing the stone, I'm getting actually getting something out of a rock, right? If you romance the stone, you can actually get some juice out of it. But points to balancing the scales. There's a marital break coming up. Maybe not done yet, but exposed at this time. The feminine side sucked into the truth in order to triumph. With justice and completion. So the left energy, it could just be the divine masculine's left energy, the feminine energy, but just the feminine energy in general is now being sucked into the truth in order to triumph, to find justice and completion. And then I was seeing, for some, alone, floating with their lover in emotions. The Knight of Cups, twin, having thoughts of peace and exposure in order to move forward to a new life. Okay, so the divine masculine is the Knight of Cups energy. So I wanted to bring up my syncs yesterday because I got the number 1050, and you know, I brought up my codes, what I could get from my codes, and I was getting, there's something significant for me to notice at 1050, and I knew I'd be on the road on the way to my sister's at 1050, so I'm kind of curious, what am I supposed to see at 1050? Well, at 1050, and it was like floating into the red light. So right as the clock turned it to 1050, the light turned red, and I just slowed to a stop, and it's kind of surreal, you know, just kind of like floating into the red light. And I'm stopped at Church and Evesham, or Evesham it could be, but that's the road. So Eve, and my friend had just seen the plate with my name in the 1050 initially. So I stopped at those two roads. I look over to the right and I see a sign for a psychic reader assigned for a psychic reader at a Cadillac dealer. So that may be some advice for people who want to get out and do reads. It's a draw to bring people in, right? If you get a free psychic reading, that's kind of fun. So it's a good advertisement tool. And then as soon as I pulled into the red light at 10:50, the song Goodbye Yellow Brick Road comes on. So you need to watch the lyrics of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Very important about leaving the superficial life behind, right? And finding the simple life again. And also, and Spirit's connecting with me. And just as I hear Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and I think there was another song, but I can't remember what it was. So not long after that, I got to my sister's, which I turned right off of the main road, which is 73, which is the King of Cups reversed. And her address is also 73, so it's connected. 73 is a Pentacles. Which one is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 of Pentacles. That's that, feeling left out in the cold energy. Reverse of the King of Cups. So when you're unconditional love, you're the opposite of that. But I end up turning the right I have to turn after hearing Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I'd turn on Brick Road. So there's a message there for my sister as well. But remember, not only is it the lyrics from Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John, for those of you who don't know, what does yellow mean? When we describe people as yellow, it's a lack of courage, right? So it's prompting us to be in our courage, to be in our solar plexus and our confident selves and our truth. So the numbers coming up, which are all, some of them are very specific to me, but the numbers in general, I was getting 38 is the Queen of Cups and 44 is the Four of Cups. I was getting 38s, 44s, 39s, which is the Knight of Cups, 666, 107 came up again. It had just come up in my run. And it was just like I looked to the side of the road and there was 107 again, which is not something I see all the time. And then I saw 909 and 99 on 9th Street. So all of these numbers came up as important. It was a beautiful day at the beach. Just, beautiful pictures of, I got some awesome pictures of the seagulls, like one just, ready to dive into someone's food, just like that perched position. They were kind of cool. And again, like I said, the sun. I also saw on the way down the shore, when I looked to the right, was very important. It was on a factory type building on the roof. There was like 4 vents, and it was literally 1111. So 1111 is coming up again, is important because they were vents, releasing. It was really cool to see that. And then of course the seagull jamming his wing into my ice cream cone. Very aggressive masculine energies. Then when I got home and I parked, and I didn't get home till about 8 o'clock at night, I was just talking about the cat that had come up to greet me, who I'd seen a couple times in the neighborhood recently with a sparkly pink collar, very feminine. When I had sold my car to my daughter's friend, and we were changing the plates, this cat had come up to me that I just kind of met on the sidewalk before. And I know this cat's been on my deck before, because there's a couple cats that like to hang out on my deck. But my twin flame friend had just told me yesterday about this cat who came into her house, who was really attracted to her. And as soon as I got home, this cat with the sparkly pink collar, as soon as I turned the car off, I look up and the cat was on my hood, like looking right at me. Meow, will you give me some attention? So as soon as I came out, of course I gave her some attention and then went in. But it was just more synchronicities about the cat. So if you have cats coming up to you this week, let me know. And also DNA came up again yesterday. So, and getting back to people, giving attention. And I wanted to bring up the energy of giving to others. It's not always about getting paid one-to-one, because it's like pay it forward, and it's like karma. Sometimes you don't get karma in your one-to-one relationship. Maybe you think something unjust has happened to you and you want to, give that karma back to the other person, but it doesn't work that way. Energetically, that person may get their karma from someone else, not from you, but it still gets played out. It's the same thing with service and money. Just because you don't get paid doesn't mean you're not exchanging energy. So maybe I received already, and so I want to give to another, and maybe don't require something. But then maybe when that person comes into their abundance, they will give to someone else, or they'll give back to me. So I don't want you to get hung up on the fact that, there has to be, there always has to be that monetary exchange, because it's not always just monetary exchange, it's all energy exchange. But of course, we are coming into that template of it being okay to exchange money for any type of service. If it takes your time and energy, there's an exchange there, and it is worth being paid. So don't get hung up on the semantics, don't get hung up on the details, right? The devil's in the details. It's just about love, right? Loving each other ultimately. So when you get confused about what you hear from different sources, just always go back to love and fear. Is it love or fear? If you're in fear, it's not the right place, okay? That's a simple way of kind of bringing yourself home again. Because it does get confusing. There's a lot of different perspectives out there, and it is all about love, but it's about being authentic first to yourself, loving yourself first, in order to be able to love other people authentically. So you don't want to love people from your inauthentic place. So you can't be kind all the time. You have to be authentic first, and then kind. So ultimately, as we raise our vibration, we become kinder and kinder and kinder. I mean, that's the way it goes as you raise your vibration, because you're able to stay detached. You're able to see the perspective from all different viewpoints, all different angles. So, and I was just getting the star, okay? All the different points of the star is representative of all of the different angles as we come together as one in the center. Okay. So then, so just a few other things that came up yesterday. They were kind of odd. The number 44 and 12 came up, as well as a mastiff came up yesterday, an ivy mastiff. So I don't know if that's the color or the name of the dog, and it doesn't have to be the dog if it references something else. But if anyone relates to ivy mastiff, let me know. And also I was getting 70 emotions, which is interesting because we ended up having a discussion on the beach about 70-year-old emotions. And there may be a relation between this mastiff and the 70-year-old. I was getting some kind of clearing with a foe or someone who maybe you're not getting along with, and that it's God's divine justice. So to always remember aloud, to trust that maybe the universe has a better result for you. So sometimes it's not going the way you want it to. Remember, there could be a different kind of result. As far as the energy exchange too, before I forget, I want to remind people that even just an email exchange, there's a lot of time involved in this. So to just realize that the people that you reach out to for help, you can't possibly, as one person, email back to however many listeners there are, or just subscribers, that kind of thing. You get that. So if someone has thousands of subscribers or listeners, it's just impossible to email back all of those people. So it's never for a lack of caring about the other. And so if someone does give you that energy, please see it as love, and it's an appreciation for that. Doing even video sessions is even more time consuming. So it's not just the time that you're on the video, it's the time it takes to prepare the video and upload the video and the thoughts that go into it and the processing. So there's a lot of time that goes into these things. Okay, so something else in my codes that came up. This was still yesterday. Sage fog kept coming up. It's like It wasn't talking specifically about sage fog, but maybe you'll be seeing like a sagey type of fog. I was also getting IVF and mastectomy came up. Again, keep your emotions clear. Always come back to your heart space, to your love space. When you're not getting your way, you know, don't feel challenged. Remind yourself to come back to 0 point, to know that if it's not going to work out the way you think, that the universe probably has another plan in mind that's going to work out even better for you. I was getting like 5 support of Vimeo, but I was also getting venomous emotions. So if that means anything to anyone, let me know. And also 5 supporting the 7, Queen of Cups energy, and sages, and the fog was coming up here as well. So 5 support 7, Queen of Cups, which is that feminine unconditional love energy. So again, this is 5 and 7, which is 12. So there may be groups of 12 type of dynamics that are naturally coming into play between you and within your soul groups to play out in a certain way. And it could be King of Cups energy as well. So the number 25 also came up for the Divine Masculine yesterday, which is the Knight of Wands energy. You know, really passionate energy, getting busy, taking care of things, going out with friends, you know, being passionate, wanting to come in to see someone. So there's a strong release of loss, regret, and deception. But the Divine Masculine is still hiding conflict. It's like he's only allowing the Divine Feminine to come out. So only 2 of the 4 flames are out. He is going to be coming out defending his truth. I was actually getting him, some of the Divine Masculines, like the church thing came up yesterday or the day before. Some of the Divine Masculines going back to church and maybe defending their position to a priest. Maybe a priest who, and even if it's not a priest the Divine Masculine usually deals with, they haven't been going to church. It's the priest that the Karmic deals with. It's like the priest that presides over the Karmic. And also drowning woman was coming up. So it's either the Karmic or the Karmic presiding over someone else who's drowning, or the Karmic speaking of the Divine Feminine that way, you know, as a protection mechanism of herself, speaking badly of the Divine Feminine. And I was getting specifically, if there is gossip about the Divine Feminine, it was like coming out like, oh, she's in her own world of animals and angels and rugs and just a baton twirler or something like that. But this is specifically what I was getting coming out of the Karmic, or someone maybe who knows the Karmic, or someone who's talking to the Divine Masculine about the Divine Feminine. For the Divine Masculine, I was getting to free yourself. There are Divine Masculines that are now splitting with the Queen of Wands, who's really pissed, or just exhausted of the situation, inspired not to work. There may be some Karmics still trying to manipulate by saying they can't work due to having to take care of children in divorce. But she's coming out, the superficial part of the Karmic is coming out more strongly now, and the Divine Masculine is now seeing this more. The King of Cups energy is now seeing the show, that he's actually part of it, that he's actually the narrator of the show, the storyteller of how the hangman is hung up on his own prisoner, is specifically what I was getting. The Divine Masculine is called to do more physical activity. Soulmates are being exposed as royal pacifiers or babies. And this could be lots of different kinds of people in Divine Masculine's life who are soulmates, but they're coming out as being babies due to failure or loss of money and balance, and being crybabies about it, or royal pacifiers. Like they think they don't have to do anything, but you know, now that things might become a little bit difficult, they're just, you know, whining about it. So recently, with the Divine Masculine's world turned on its ear, he's been taking steps to move losing money and his man cave. But his man cave is actually his heart, so he needs to recognize he can't lose his man cave because his home is really in his heart, not any home that he has. But they're coming full circle about their stubbornness and their resistance to change. I was getting that the Divine Masculine is feeling like, you know, they're the commander of the ship at work, ready to defend their truth and their justice as the Emperor, right? The all-knowing, the mighty Oz. And then I was being called to make sure you help clear your own crown, so blow some healing energy, violet or green, gold, white energy through your crown, as well as through your cord, through your masculine's crown, to help keep their crown clear of anything blocking their crown. The twin, I was getting for the Divine Masculine, that the twins are, some of the twins are definitely ready for their new life of love, excited to come forward, even if the truth may be harsh between them. And the Divine Masculine was being funny again, saying, even if the truth is harsh and he needs a spanking. And then he has a look on his face. Okay? So challenged by the twins or the kids offering money to a sad woman. So there could be kids offering their mother money, who may be, you know, complaining they don't have any money. Or it could be even in some situations, the Divine Masculine's kids who know the Divine Feminine, maybe who needs money and they're offering them money. Or vice versa, or, you know, it could be even the Divine Feminine's kids offering them money, but depending on the situation, because there's all of those dynamics. So the spiritual secrets are coming out as illness and blocks from the truth. And I was getting, again, there's a bad priest involved with someone that's secretly a sick pup, is what I was getting. The Divine Masculine's been avoiding the truth of family and why they are all ill and stuck. And now there is guidance in the aftermath of emotions that there is happy family without a lover who he has defeated looking back, but causing a great imbalance. So after having maybe gotten the Divine Feminine out of his life, thinking that now, you know, he's fixed everything, when it's not really fixed because he knows that he's not in his truth, why the family is still holding these negative energies, and his understanding of this coming out now. There is a Queen of Swords energy coming out, speaking of rejection, and in other words, death by way of Excalibur. Okay, so the truth comes out. Someone's rejected. The harsh truth and the shame of family abuse. Some of the Divine Masculines may be avoiding a war with an Empress energy, so a mother or a boss, a drama queen, or maybe a sex addict. This karmic energy is coming up as a control freak from a dysfunctional family. And the Divine Masculine is feeling very guarded, even to the Divine Feminine, some of them, as his King of Cups. So once he comes into his heart space and sees, you know the process, like even for the Divine Feminine, as you go through this journey, you come into your very cup space, not looking at pentacles in a positive way, but realizing once you're in your cup space that the full mastery doesn't come until you master the pentacles or the financial aspect of your life, because this is manifesting. So once you're in your heart space, then the abundance comes in and you can manifest. So it's a positive thing to be Queen of Pentacles, not a negative thing, so don't look at that as negative. So now the Divine Masculine is going through that same progress, or that same as the layers peel back. Sometimes you don't know until you know. You have to learn this step before then you can awaken to the next step. So it's just like in the suits of the decks. You're born as the Wands energy, then you expand into the Cups energy, and then to the Swords energy, and then to the Pentacles energy. And of course we use all of the energies all the time, but that's the representation of the coming into your strength and your heart space, and then your manifestation abilities after you control your mind and your thoughts. So some of the cards that came up were give your relationship a chance, let go of control issues for the Divine Masculine, around him, recovering, defenseless to the shadow web of lies that he's been living in. He's clearing resistance to a breakup and giving power away by thinking too much. Creativity, self-discipline, and forgiveness comes up. Forgiveness is very strong. It's so important to forgive. And the Divine Masculine is longing for connection, waiting to reignite the flame. There's an over-emotional Empress, like a dictator, and he's trying to sneak away from this energy. So this isn't for all Divine Masculines, but definitely for a group. This over-emotional Empress is like a dictator. So there's justice to be sought. It's the sore spot of the King of Swords reversed. So the Divine Masculine not in his truth because he seeks justice. And he needs to learn to let go of seeking justice. And then I was getting pin the tail on the donkey. That, like you hit the nail on the head, pin the tail on the donkey. So when bringing up the sore spot of the King of Swords reversed, he's not in his truth because he's hung up on getting justice. There's also some Divine Masculines coming up as not in their truth about some kind of situation of having sex in the woods, that something negative happened. Some even might have had a fire start, even on a home. And actually the Divine Masculine is now coming back. He never quite connected the dots on something, and now he is. Okay, because definitely connecting the dots was coming up. There was always like this gap, and then now all of a sudden the dots are connecting. And also I was getting fire pits relating to it. So it might be a place where there were fire pits. And also divorces becoming final. There's celebrations or coming together coming up, but the Divine Masculine still may need money or needs to learn more about energy, or maybe just waiting for an invitation. The heart of the Emperor is the King of Cups, that unconditional love energy, caught in a web trying to find his way out, to offer a date possibly to a sad one, waiting for her, Two of Cups, to manifest, while the Queen of Wands, or the karmic energy, is thinking too much about a divorce situation, or it could just be a break of contract, or just a breakup if they're not married. And then I watched, last night, The Fundamentals of Caring. And in this movie, which is a really beautiful movie, so I definitely recommend this, The Fundamentals of Caring. And the first thing they go through is a certification program on being a caregiver, and they teach the acronym ALOHA. Ask, listen, observe, help, and then ask again. And they're talking about staying detached, because if you get too involved with your patient, it's bad for the patient in the end, and it's bad for you in the end, because then you have to part, because it's not a permanent relationship. So it's about learning to stay detached but loving at the same time. Okay? Aloha, ask, listen, observe, help, and then ask again. You cannot care for others unless you first care for yourself. Okay, so this is what they're teaching in this class. So perfect, right? So then, we'll come on into the 10th, which is today. So today we're in 2911. It's the 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, so a change for the better. Good luck, destiny. And then 29 is the Three of Wands. So it's usually, you know, waiting for your ships to come in, but you're looking out to the future. So you're standing still at the moment, but you're just waiting for the next fleet to come in so it could be processed, you know, going up to the next level in business. But I really see it now as staying present now, the Three of Wands. Okay, learning to stay present, that everything comes to you. You don't have to do a thing. When you're inspired, you naturally move. And when you're not inspired, you're meant to rest and meditate and be out in nature and have fun. This then re-inspires you, and then the cycle starts again. So the universe will inspire you if you allow them to, naturally. And I brought up this example before. It's just like not wanting to clean the house. There always comes around a time where you become inspired to clean something. And yes, there may be those people who never want to clean anything, but it's just an example. It could have to do with anything, going to the grocery store, you know. There's always a time where you become inspired. Even if you think you'll never be inspired again, you are. It's about trusting and allowing and having patience. And at the end of this movie that I watched last night, very important, it was about this relationship of this caregiver with his patient and how they learn to truly know each other through the twisting of the rope, right? And how beautiful it becomes, and how that relationship leads to, and Spirit's connecting with me, both of them finding their dreams that they were blocking themselves from, including the caregiver who was refusing to give his wife a divorce after 2.5 years. And of course at the end of the movie now comes back, and Spirit's still connecting with me. In the movie, he finally gives the wife the divorce she wants and releases himself because he is healed and ready to move on. Okay, so that's your divine masculine energy. And that was really beautiful. So 818 came up this morning. And again, that 29 is 11. And 11 is about justice. And we're talking about the divine masculine and having a hang up about getting justice. So, and I remember someone telling me something about justice and like, why don't you want to, you know, fight for that? What else do you have to do? So this is divine masculine mentality, is you have nothing better to do. I certainly have something better to do. So it's them changing the perspective on that, getting out of that need for justice. That they don't need to do that. That give it up to God, divine, universe, whatever you want to call it, love. It's for the universe, the energy, the universal love energy to take care of for you. Give it up. That's the surrender. Patience and faith. Faith in your own knowing who you are and what your mission is. And then this I didn't watch this, or it didn't come up on TV or anything. It just came up this morning as I was shuffling my cards. The movie Adam and Eve. I don't know if all of you have seen that, but it's a really cute movie. But it was kind of giving an example of the divine feminine, divine masculine, because in the movie Adam and Eve, the divine masculine's been stuck in a bomb shelter with his family for I don't know how many years it was. 20 years, something like that. And he's like a really nice guy, but he's really innocent. Like, he's coming out of this bomb shelter. He hasn't been exposed to anything for 20 years. He has no idea what's going on in the world. And he's so sweet and nice and pure. And then the divine feminine kind of has to, you know, help him reorient to the new space, but also allowing this breath of fresh air to come into her life. Allowing. So that's really important too. If you haven't seen that movie, watch that. It's really cute. Then before I even got my deal done, Wishbone came up again, and nobody puts baby in the corner. Okay, so you're getting your wish, because the divine feminine is in her power. So now all the work is coming to fruition. There's a payoff for the divine feminine. And I literally got twins merging, and that was at 10:25 if you're curious. Twins merging. I was literally seeing two inner flames and two outer flames finally coming together, merging together. That's union. So for the more advanced or farther along twins on their path, this is physical merging, so this is union. And for other twins, it's going to be energetic or 5D merging is happening right now. The number 22, the Fool, comes up, as well as number 39, which is the Knight of Cups. This morning, the major arcana today, this is for the Divine Feminine, is the Emperor and the Star. So Emperor is coming up too, not only about control issues, but also about being God. God's the only one in control. And Star, you know, getting out of any blocks about being in the limelight, you know, fear, because it's all fear, right? And fear is not love. So, the coding was coming up about the Knight of Cups, was coming up a lot in this as the main subject, actually. And it is a 3. It is the Trinity energy, the Knight of Cups, giving love to everyone. You know, it's very much of the Jesus energy. And I was getting like Jesus Jr. Okay, so for the Divine Masculines, they're coming up as Jesus Jr. to support the Divine Masculine in the lightning and thundering, and then we just had huge storms coming up. The lightning and thundering of how to deal with money and energy. And also JR was coming up from Dallas, so for those of you who are old enough to know Dallas, you know, this is a wealthy businessman in Dallas. There was a whole show about it. But JR was the main character, and he's very likable, but also a really, you know, tough businessman. So he was really tough. So this may describe some of the Divine Masculines, like very charismatic, but like not letting anyone get anything off of them. So it was saying to the Divine Feminine to support the Divine Masculine in their knowing about money and energy work. And it was literally coming from the Jesus and Mary and Christus Sophia relationship, okay? It's like being in your knowing, and that you are self-love, that he's the senior partner in the money department. And in some situations, the Divine Feminine is going to be the more masculine of the two. So just take that, you know, as you perceive it to be. Mastering your soul group energy of people who are stalling or kind of crying wolf because they're not dealing with certain issues they need to deal with. Junior can be like taking a back seat too. They're taking a back seat to self-love for their happy ending. But you can't, you know, there's no shortcuts. So it's bringing up that as well. I was also getting strychnine came up. I don't know why, but if that means anything to anyone, let me know. And what else came up? Ma, like a mother. And I hope that's not true, but there could be certain mother situations where, you know, I forget the name of the disease, where the mothers poison their children. Or it doesn't have to be their children, it could be anyone in the family, you know, to get attention. I'm just blanking out on the name of that, but you know what I mean. But that just came up randomly, and strychnine. But the Divine Feminine is being called to be the guide of Christus Sophia consciousness. But to know that there's certain aspects where you need to allow your masculine to guide, to be the leader. So the divine reminder of the Divine Feminine is the leader in the spirituality realms. The masculine energy is the leader in the manifestation realms of the earthly plane. And again, I was getting Christus Sophia Jr. Okay? So you're the combination of Christus Sophia as a twin flame, you're the representation of Christos Sophia energy. The masculine energy leads in the 3D. We're not really in 3D, but 4D. But in this grounded energy, the Divine Masculine leads, as opposed to the feminine, which leads in the spiritual realm. I was getting to master the wise one energy that you are. And I was getting juggling triangles and molars. And it was interesting. And I was getting the analogy of the head, the human head, is the molar, and the orbs, or the negative thoughts in the head, are pieces of food that get caught in the molars. So I don't know if that helps someone, but that was the relationship it was showing me. Juggling triangles and molars. And that's, the triangles is interesting that came up because when I was on the beach yesterday, I was trying to do the telepathy work with my sister and sending simple shapes to each other to see if you can receive. And then send and send as well. So I sent her 2 shapes, and it was almost perfect. I think I sent. Oh no, she sent me. I asked her to send me first to see if I could receive, so I could show her that it actually is real, and then we would switch roles. And so she sent me first an oval. I got a circle for the oval, but then she sent me a triangle, and I definitely saw the triangle. So it's a great way to play when you're bored with other people, to show them that this connection is real, that the energy is real. And then when I took one of my pictures when we were leaving yesterday, it was a reflection of all these roofs, and it showed like 5 different triangles. So it was bringing up the triangle again. Also, so when I say the wise one, it means the, it's basically referencing the soul group and the entire group, the one. We are all the wise one, right? So I was getting this energy shedding light on finger pointing. And I went to write karma, and it wrote Carmen. So if there's a name Carmen that means something to someone, or a car man, like maybe a salesman who sells cars. But there's finger pointing having to do with karma, causing stress. It's easy to point the finger when you hide your face. The one guiding others to peace, but hiding behind unhappy family, sheds light on finger pointing and opening up the crown more fully. I was getting also specifically that hiding karma causes the brain wars. So that suffering that we go through in these pain cycles is caused by hiding karma. The Knight of Wands energy was coming up as out and about, watching secret codependencies, or these addictions to pain. So maybe the Divine Masculine could be watching the Divine Feminine, seeing the broken hearts exposed as brain wars, right? The pain cycles need to be released because of deep secrets that have been kept for a long time. It takes courage to put your ass out there and walk the walk. And I was literally getting this. This isn't even my words. This is like from the cards. It takes courage to put your ass out there and walk the walk. And of course, talk the talk. To stand on, or for a platform, and not care what others say or how they may attack you or be aggressive. You can't control how it's going to be received. You can't worry about that. You just have to focus on what's your truth. So when you're feeling defenseless, you have to come into your knowing that you don't need to defend your truth. Truth is the truth. You never need to defend the truth. The truth just is. And then I got single white female again. And I just got a really negative energy about that. Single white female. And I was getting, again, it has to do with exposing your body. Because I was getting specifically, again, exposing the breasts everywhere. Shockingly, and this is not, I don't know anything about statistics, this is a download I'm getting, so please don't take this as a statistic. I'm not referencing anyone, this is a download I've received. I was getting that shockingly 2 out of 3 women who expose themselves sexually in some way for attention are abused, raped, or killed due to jealousy and rage. So I don't know what the statistics are, but that was just directly from my download, okay? I was getting health as a big issue for the Divine Feminine, to focus on your health right now. Also, that pushing boundaries wisely can save you money, time, and energy at union. And the wisely is also carefully. So pushing your boundaries carefully. So it's like the hangman. Once it wakes up, it's like wanting to push outside the box. If you do this wisely and carefully, you can save money, time, and energy at union. And then I was getting with magenta flowers around the head or around the altar. So magenta flowers, maybe like as a ring around the head for the bride, or just around the altar. A circle of flowers, of magenta flowers. And also, it was they were showing a dragonfly over the Divine Masculine. The Divine Masculine leads the way to union and divine love. So it was showing the dragonfly over the Divine Masculine because, as I saw in the south of France, the dragonfly, the way they mate, the Divine Masculine wraps his tail around the Divine Feminine's neck. And they look like a stick, right, with their tails together like this now. Because you know when the dragonfly is flying, you don't see their wings because they fly, their wings flap so quickly. So all you see is a stick flying. And once they land, the Divine Masculine then comes down and wraps around and brings his head up this way, and it shapes a heart, an upside down heart hanging from the plant. And then as they are having sex, basically, the heart, it like pumps. It comes in and goes out and in. It's really beautiful, actually. But it's showing this dragonfly above the Divine Masculine. Let him lead the way in love. Like the dragonfly. And for the Divine Feminine, some money in the piggy bank. It's showing for the Divine Feminine to have a little savings underneath her prior to the date or prior to being inspired. Ideas growing upward and money and energy are grounding. So the Divine Feminine is saying make sure you ground yourself before coming into union. And that's part of being sovereign before you come into union. The underlying energy was coming up with anxiety, frustration, heartbreak, and separation, and feeling defenseless for the Divine Feminine. Sorry, I just have to fix my pillows. Okay. And also surprising stories of sexual abuse coming up. And again, health was coming up. So health isn't just physical health, it's mental health, emotional, spiritual health. That the Divine Feminine is to focus on her health. So if there are any of these issues in the Divine Feminine's past, they should be coming out because it clears you and makes you healthier. Recently, what was coming up is patching things up. There may be some Divine Masculines or even Divine Feminines as well, painting and fixing things, ceilings around the house or their business impatiently in order to get your wish. So as light shines down upon the Divine Feminine, this is what's happening. Like she feels the good energy coming. It's like she's inspired to get things ready. After lots of anxiety and frustration, the Divine Feminine gets her wish. The foundation energies were all about releasing pain through exposure to the Divine Masculine, who still guards his sexual past, master of his thoughts, which you all know that. Okay? So the Divine Feminine is leading the way in this sense. So when you do this, you then trigger your Divine Masculine to open this up. The central issues were having to do with the twin flames merge, the merge into physical or the 5D merge after separation, and suffering cycles in a bold move. There's a challenge there for the Divine Feminine in giving it up to the Divine or God. Any mental prison about unconditional love and standing up to and in your own truth to family, finding peace for your inner child. So it's like a call right now in Leo energies. You are in your inner child. Leo is all about the inner child, about play and being free and being real and authentic and saying exactly what's on your mind at the moment. That's what kids do. So the twins are being, especially Divine Feminine, is being called to the inner union and the 5D union. Well, in order to get to your inner union, you have to go through all these things, because you're clearing out your wounds. And so what are your biggest childhood wounds? What needs to come out with your family? The secrets, the family secrets. It might not even be specifically about you. It might be a family secret that needs to come out. Finding peace for your inner child. Okay, so when the Divine Feminine does this, it leads to the Divine Masculine. So now with inner union and 5D union complete, and impatient to master the pentacles for the Divine Feminine and find satisfaction, coming out of lack and being disconnected, and coming out of sexual frustration. The Divine Feminine has learned to master all of these things. She's still learning to master the pentacles, right? Or her financial stability, her manifestation abilities. Whereas the Divine Masculine is coming from a slightly different perspective, okay? So that Divine Masculine actually, in their swords energy, not in their truth, is having loss of hope of the situation because they're not in their truth and not realizing that, and now coming into that realization. The Divine Masculine's final test is the leap of faith into physical union. Getting past the 5D energy, harvesting, and hands-off policies. Okay, so again, for the Divine Masculine, they're needing to get past their 5D energy harvesting, the guilt about the energy they've taken from the Divine Feminine, and their hands-off policy, possibly work or other situations in their lives where they consider their Divine Feminine hands-off policy, allowing their children, if they have children, to see the truth that blocks you may not be the real truth, the finer, more flexible truth of transparency. So transparency was coming up big time. The inner child of the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine, the kids, and artificial boobs were coming up again. So stressing to the children that only seeing the imperfections when they look in the mirror is a distortion. It's not the truth. It's a distortion of the truth. So when the Divine Masculine wakes up to his truth and his Divine Feminine's truth, showing their children what the reality of the situation really is, so they can see their own distortions. Soon the Divine Masculine, and I was getting for Divine Masculine, right hip to left ear pain, including teeth and jaw, working out points of contention, anger and frustration regarding the Emperor energy. So this is all about control and God. So there may be a lot of Divine Masculine who have issues with God and control. That's what their control issues stem from. So there's going to be crown blocks here. Control issues, God issues. But the Divine Masculine has intense divine assistance at this time. I was being specifically shown that Gabriel and Jesus are there working with the Divine Masculine intensely, introducing Sophia to those who don't know her. So that would be the overall feminine God energy. So the Divine Feminine is now pulling the lever or the handle in her knowing, after she's been without a lover, she's been without the conflict in her life, releasing the wounds, but a lot of these wounds are being released within herself and just in private and not telling others. Some yes, but not all of them. So now we're being notified, basically, it's time to roll. Let friends help. This could be the one. So around the Divine Feminine, there are the three, or the Trinity energy was coming up as not coming together. You know, this is also the third energy. Not coming together to learn. Because needing money or education or research or an invitation to work together. Even though the environment of the divine feminine, whoever's there, whether it's the divine masculine or others, are now being in their present moment, they're still not coming together because of you know, divine masculine still wanting to learn more. They feel like they need to know more before proceeding, or needing more money or education or research, or feeling like they need an invitation to work together, to come together for the third energy, even though they're present in the magenta energy. Okay? So that's very strong. You know, there's still red in magenta. It's still talking about some lower chakra energy there, but it's like what's the word? It's just magenta's like a higher timeline though. It's mixing compassion with that Mars energy, you know. It was like the divine masculine is allowing the left flame to come out, so he's allowing his divine feminine to show herself. But him, the right flame, the third energy is blocked in order to rebuild their business, or maybe some of the divine masculines need a loan, or just need to message someone about or through work. So these are simple things that are blocking the divine masculine, just getting restarted. So if things have fallen apart in their work, or they need a new job, that's their only block right now, is just getting back in order or reaching out. Maybe he's supposed to work with his divine feminine and he needs to just reach out. So the divine feminine needs to clear blocks of being in the limelight. And I got only a day away from Annie. Just remember, it's only a day away. No fear. And it's funny that limelight came up, because I literally, in the past 3 days, because I had leftovers, I didn't have much food left in the house, so I was just experimenting with different things. So I made my pasta sauce with lime and hot peppers, and it actually came out really good. I put some sour cream in there too, but lime's coming up, so maybe the lime is really good to use in cooking. But I was using lime and hot pepper, and I made it on 8/8 Lionsgate. You know, it's a little spice, sour and spice. And I ate it that day, and then yesterday, the 8th. Well, anyway, for 3 days. Maybe I made it on the 7th. But the lime is the important part, and maybe that sour and hot spiciness is coming up. It's only a day away. So for some, it may be actually a message for you, that maybe your divine masculine's coming in to take you away for 3 nights, and it's only a day away on the 11th, on the eclipse. So that's interesting. And then secrets. The next line I wrote down is, secrets trip you up when looking back. Okay? But after what I just said, it led into secret trip. So there's definitely a secret trip coming up for someone tomorrow. Maybe a 3-night getaway with the divine masculine. Again, transparency is very important for happy ending, self-love and healing. Healing, very important. Sophia is about holding back. This is the feminine energy, right? So Sophia's coming out as kind of introducing that energy for people who aren't that familiar with Sophia. It's about holding back truth, jealousy, duplicity, and emotional manipulation. So this is the feminine energies. When you correct these things in your own life, then your new life of abundance comes in. The Knight of Cups, or the horse with no man, and also no mane, came up. So instead of the horse with no name, it came up the horse with no man and then mane as well. The horse with no mane, the horse with no man. So it was showing me the Divine Masculine very shy about someone they see as perfect and want to romance. So it's like the Divine Masculine, like even he's letting the horse go in, but he's hiding. It was really cute, actually. But also the horse with no mane, right? With no adornments. Just as he is. He is shy to come forward to show himself just as he is when they perceive someone else as being so perfect and wanting to romance them. They dream of a huge, beautiful gazebo-like porch too, with roses and blueberries and a violin. So it could be violin music. The Divine Feminine starts to see the fruits of their labor. Girls exposing their truth to their fathers and doctors. A lot about what, like I brought up with, exposing their truth to fathers and doctors about their breasts and their sexuality, wanting to feel desired. That can be a very sour, and maybe that has to do with the Lyme as well, that can be a very sour, pointed, and even dead subject for some, wanting growth to release their own armor. Okay, so between daughters and fathers, and just daughters in general opening up about themselves to men. So the Queen of Cups energy, the Divine Feminine, wants passion and romance and a new life of abundance, a spiritual home and union without resisting abundance, and helping to clean up after the aftermath. So it's the Divine Feminine saying, you know, they understand life isn't going to be perfect at first, you know, that there's things that need to be done, but offering to help with that. Those in lack, and then my whole right head just started tingling when I said that. Those in lack, so the right side, the masculine side of everyone, and not in their power, their sovereignty, must master their financial life, seeing money as energy exchange. Going back to their childhood or the past, returning you during this retrograde period, gives you no option but to address your creative and sexual blocks to the truth and then to triumph. And I was being reminded that specifically from Sophia, that the truth of the Knight of Cups with the Queen of Cups, when they're reversed, is that they're not seeing each other or speaking because of jealousy and manipulation. Again, this was bringing up that Sophia energies, the things that she wanted brought up about holding in your truth, not speaking your truth. Jealousy causes jealousy, duplicity, and emotional manipulation. So when the Divine Masculine and Feminine are not seeing each other or speaking to each other, it causes jealousy and manipulation. And love, the point is that love cannot be contained or pushed down. If you have love, you cannot deny it. You can't pretend it's not there and to stay in a relationship that has no love. Because you can't push down the other love. It has to come up. It has to rise to the top. You can't push down love. So for the Divine Masculines who've been doing this, it's going to be exposed because you just can't contain love. So the anxiety of the King of Swords, who is very supportive and truthful, in charge, articulate, and guarded, and then the Queen of Swords, in her knowing of the light, holds truth freely but still holds pain, is ready to change the game, staying present, keeping their heart open to the world, and allowing the Divine Masculine to lead the way, the Divine Feminine leading the way spiritually with light and satisfaction. The twin flames give it up to the Divine, God, stars, and ETs, and I was being shown to list all of these things, because I was just going to say giving it up to the Divine, and I was literally being shown, no, say it for what everyone might relate to. Giving it up to the Divine, giving it up to God, giving it up to the stars and love and dreams, or giving it up to ETs, no matter what it is that you believe in order to achieve your inner wisdom or your inner union, as the Queen of Cups. This is specifically for the Divine Feminine, morphing into the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so you might even come into union as the Queen of Cups, but you manifest as the Queen of Pentacles, always with support of the abundant mother, Sophia. So that's like her blessing to you. Okay, so that was a really beautiful message. I'm going to pull some cards for you. It's getting long. Sorry, I didn't mean to take so long today. I know nobody wants to watch it when it's this long. So for the Ascension deck, for the organic, Divine Masculine, Divine Feminines. Oh, I'm sorry about my t-shirt. This is like my painting t-shirt because I'm going to go jogging after this. But there's some white paint on it. So I was called to bring that up so it might sync for someone out there. And there's, I think there's a motorcycle. It's like a garage. It says Ralph's Bike Garage, New York City. So yeah, it's Ralph Lauren, but advertisement. I'm just saying that the motorcycle on there might sync for someone as well as what it says, and even the colors for football, the orange and brown. I don't know. And paint. I don't know if paint's gonna sync. Maybe white speckles. Maybe your Mastiff has ivory white speckles on it. Alright, so for the organic Divine Masculine, Divine Feminines, organic Divine Masculines and Feminines, the Twin Flames, what is the advice? What is the advice for the organic Divine Masculine and Feminine Twin Flames? Okay, 2. The Dolphins is at the bottom. And that's number 23, which is the King of Wands. The affirmation is, I connect with Dolphin Wisdom. The cards that actually came out are Serapis or Serapis Bay, not sure how it's pronounced. Number 41 is the Ace of Cups. All right, so it's self-love and new love also. So this reads, Serapis Bay was keeper of the white ascension flame in Atlantis and is now the koan of the fourth ray of harmony. He is known as the Egyptian because he worked with Archangel Metatron to suffuse the great pyramid with cosmic wisdom energy at the time of its construction. In drawing this card, you're invited to stand within the white flame and feel its influence. Connect with Serapis Bay and draw his energies of wisdom, and wisdom's been coming up a lot this week, cooperation and dedication to you. He is the only master to work with the seraphim, and they will shower you with blessings as you tune into this ascension card. And the affirmation is, I walk with Serapis Bay. So I'm going to let you tune into it for a moment if you'd like. Okay, especially since it's the Ace of Cups 41, which by the way is 5 of freedom and change and excitement and expansion. And then we have the 1 of the masculine energy on the inside and the stability of the 4 on the outside. So being very responsible on the outside. And that's that wisdom energy that's coming up. Being wise and more careful. Don't just jump into things. Don't get in your head, but be wise at the same time. So the other card that came up is the Moon, number 11. So that's about justice, which also came up today. And it's that spiritual energy, 11. And the twins, of course, 1-1. The moon, and it's also inner union, the moon is the causal chakra of the universe and radiates divine feminine energies. Call on it to cleanse your aura and energize you. Remember, the influence of the celestial body is always there whether you can see it or not. When you're offered this card, you're called on to practice your feminine qualities of love, wisdom, compassion, intuition, inclusiveness, discernment, and oneness. Okay, so they're bringing up wisdom as a feminine energy. Wisdom, compassion, love, intuition, inclusiveness, discernment, and oneness. Your guidance is to go within and seek answers from your huge font of wisdom. The moon will bring you clarity so that you can flow with the current of ascension. The affirmation is, I listen to my divine feminine wisdom. So it's just bringing up all of the feminine energies you're being guided to at this time. So if you're excluding, it's saying that inclusiveness is a very feminine energy. You know, it's the seeing both sides of the situation, being able to bring people together. It's a very feminine energy. So know that about yourself. And then the past life deck. For the organic divine masculine, divine feminine, what is the advice for the organic divine masculine and feminine twin flames for today, August 10th, 2018? Biblical came up again. Okay, he always looks like the Eight of Pentacles, and monk or nun came up. And then finances. Okay, and the bottom of the deck is father again. That came up twice already this week. Father is very important. Father and son. Father and daughter. And not pointing the finger. Okay. So the underlying energy being the father. It's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's like the Father, the Son working for the Father, the Holy Spirit, Sophia, okay. And then finances, mastering. Using your third energy to master your finances through your creativity. Don't have blocks about money, about blocks for receiving money for spiritual things and work. You deserve to be compensated for your time, your love, your energy. Okay? That's very clear to me, and it's all about that. Financial compensation for spiritual work. And cut any cords with any vows that you've made of not receiving money. Like if you're a nun, or if you were, or just had vows of chastity and of some sort. Cut those vows, seals, cords, all of those things, you know. Just take your light and just like a funnel, cut all cords around you. It's bringing up the light. Cut all those cords around you, all of those ties to the past that keep you from abundance, from allowing. Okay. And then we have the journey of love. Journey of love. And it's bringing up the sacral chakra, because the oranges in this are coming up. I have orange jogging pants on. And my throat chakra is going right now, so there's something coming up about speaking. And you're from your sacral chakra, so that ties in the speaking up around about sexual abuse, or about your secrets, about your imperfections that you haven't spoken about. It's all about the creative and sexual blocks right now, and you need to speak up about your truths. So let's see what the journey of love has to say for the organic divine masculine, divine feminine twin flames. Today is August 10th. August 10th, 2018. August 10th, 2018. What is the advice for the organic divine masculine, divine feminine twin flames? What is the advice? What is the advice? What is the advice? What is the advice? 2. The cloak is at the bottom, number 50, which is the 10 of Cups, which is family happiness. It's the end of the cycle. Okay, the cloak is 50. So that's the underlying energy of having a happy family. It's like really true contentment. But it starts with contentment from within. So the 2 cards that came out, Shifting Universe, and that's number 7, and the Temple. Okay, and that Temple is number 59. So, number 7 is the Chariot. And you know it's that deep spiritual quiet before the storm. It's that, you know, it's quantum really. It's what happens to make the storm. Because that quietness within that builds the momentum to the storm, the quantum shift, shifting the universe. The temples, 59, is the 5 of Swords. You know, that's that conflict energy. It can be very much standing in your truth, but in a very harsh way, not caring how others fall away. And of course you want to care about others, but sometimes you have to put your foot down and let them fall away. Because you have to be your truth, and if they're not okay with your truth, then they need to fall away, and they need to work on their own wounds. So it's about the temple within. You know, your temple has boundaries. You need to be in your truth, and if people try to invade your space and deny your truth, then that's why they put the walls up around the castle. That's very pretty. In the temple, it's very like swirling up to the pinnacle. Like my ice cream cone that the seagull demolished yesterday. You know, swirling, and the rope that twists together. This temple is a very strong bond of having been through a lot. And you bond together through allowing all of those emotions to come out along the way. And you see the temple, that they become very spiritual as they come together. Okay, the masculine and the feminine in their truth. And the third energy. Into the vortex and the shifting universe. And I'm seeing it's Shokare. It's about all of the divine symbols and seeing shift in timelines. You're going to be seeing shift in timelines now. So number 7, the shifting universe. You are blessed with an opportunity to change gears. I'm sorry, I need to take a sip of water. You're blessed with an opportunity to change gears, to change your life, to jump onto the fast train. You're invited to fling yourself on the repetitive treadmill way of life and into a dance through nature, to be utterly confused and delighted, to accept the way of divine trust, even with its chaos, the instability that precedes all genuine creativity. So here it is, your get out of jail free card, your opportunity to make a mess and find out what you didn't know you were looking for. You're being nudged. If you wish, let yourself go down that strange path opening up before you, without knowing what it is, even as you take your next step. Your universe is shifting, and stranger, more beautiful world beckons. Why not go where you haven't before? You'll find yourself there and realize you're more than what you once thought you were. This oracle has a message for you. If you are thinking of changing location, jobs, houses, or attitudes, trying something new, especially if it's unusual for you, then the universe is supporting you. Now is the time to accept what you didn't expect. And this is all about speaking your truth, right? Allowing yourself to step into something, even if it's scary, and not knowing all the facts yet. That's faith. Stepping into something you don't know what it's going to become. It's not about waiting until you're ready. It's about learning along the way. So to step into it and in your knowing, because you resonate with it, even if you don't know all the facts. And the poem reads, The Dream. The taste and touch of you within, thoughts linger on a sweet caress. You come to me, no sounds distract the night's embrace of innocence. The artist brush across my lips, the palette rich in colors deep, to flow with feelings now renewed and blend as one in breath and hue. Entwined our bodies bathe in love, and weep with longing's slow release, emotion's song and soft refrain, awakened drums that never cease. Okay? So your inner drummer is awakening you. So it's really about creativity too. Just allow your creative expression to come through. You know, it's a channeling. Anyone who's good creatively at some kind of art knows that it's really channeling. It's not technical, because when you do things technically, you can't do it well. It's when you become one with the work, when you start channeling, that you become very good at it. And then number 59, the temple of doom, just came up. It is the Five of Swords. It's all in your head. Okay? That is the brain wars, we'll call it. The lover and the beloved meet in sacred space. They take respite from cares of the world, entering into sanctuary where only they exist. You are in need of this. Meditation, making love, connection and dance, intimacy and surrender into the moment. Your body and soul need to enter into the temple and participate in sacred ceremony. Choose to gift this to yourself. Set aside time. Turn off the computer and mobile telephone. Turn on music and set the lighting. Be in the present moment. Do you remember your body? Ah, yes, here it is. Can you be in its temple with presence and delight? This oracle brings guidance to take time out to smell the flowers, savor the pleasures of life, and renew your connection to the inner lover. Your sensuality wants to come out and play. You are encouraged to explore scent, touch, taste, and feeling. You're encouraged to play with color. What moves you? What brings you into connection with yourself in this moment again? It is the wholeness of divine self-connection in sacred space that will best nourish you now. And it's interesting because it brought up, which I didn't think of in this way before, but when I see really beautiful knives, it's like they're so enticing. So there's definitely a relationship there. Maybe as a part of the truth, we'll have to feel into that more. But the poem reads, love should be given as it is received. On this day I grant you the love of 1,000 mountain streams, and the pleasure of 100 bleats. From a newborn baby fawn, for I too cry for love, and like the fawn, I cry with the hunger of being alive. And on this day I cry for happiness of giving, and the warmth of receiving, and the softness of your gentle touch. It is moments like these when I smile and spirits connecting, for the someone who will always care. The one who never walked away. Okay. All right, I'm going to let you go since I'm way over time. But the usual